Thank you so much for that informative discussion on the roles and the format of the debate. So let's now proceed to the tips for the debate, Kuya. This is the most awaited part for this video podcast. Can you give us some of your tips for my students to learn how to debate properly?
Okay, thanks sir. I hope I can do justice, no? Kasi it's been ages talaga since I last debated, and I've served as adjudicator to some local competitions sa debate. From there, I can get some points po that I can share to your students as they prepare for your finals debate. Tama ba, Zen? This is part of their finals?
Yes.
Okay, good luck sa
Yes.
inyo.
Okay. Let's start with the very first thing. It's actually the most basic talaga as you engage in a parliamentary debate. And it's the triple P of prepare, prepare, and prepare. Nothing beats that. Even if you are a good speaker, if you're very eloquent and you have a very expansive vocabulary, it still doesn't help if you do not prepare well for the debate. Even if the other side has less skills when it comes to delivering speeches, but their arguments are sound, it will be brought to light that your eloquence will be empty lang naman. So we have to start good with thorough preparation for your debate. Say, going back to the example, just to be consistent, no, for that particular general to be held liable for war crimes, then you have to research on the concept of command responsibility. What does it mean? What are the cases that exemplify or show where command responsibility exists? You have to provide the legal basis, which is international humanitarian law, or maybe some domestic laws that apply to the tackle, rather, command responsibility. So you'll have to research on that, and then you have to build your argument on that. Again, starting with the strongest argument, the first three arguments that you have, and then organize them according to their strength, and then provide supporting cases and supporting statistics, supporting facts to make sure that you have a tight case when you present to the judge. So that's the number one thing, research. Then the second one is very important as well, opposition research. Now, many will attempt to do this, but only at a shallow level. But the thing is, you have to be prepared to address also the possible arguments that the opposition side will raise for you to be able to also present your counter arguments. You know that there's going to be a clash during the debate, but the more prepared you are with the arguments that you expect them to raise, the better that you will be able to provide your counter arguments as well. Therefore, preparation on the opposition research will be tasking yourselves to also look at the other side. It asks the question, how will they destroy my argument? It can be by proving that there is no command responsibility. How will they prove that? So going deep dive as well into the arguments that they will possibly use and putting up defenses already for that. That's opposition research. Um, we task Zerah, Lester, Jenny, and Christina to do that for us. Now, when we argue for the affirmative side, they will present cases, they will present questions already now. Oh, but in this case, it says that command responsibility doesn't exist. How do you answer that? When we again defend the opposition side, they also counter us with questions and cases that the affirmative side will bring to the discussion. So in a nutshell, opposition research is just as important as research for your side when preparing for a parliamentary debate. Again, I will emphasize the point that there is very little time. You're given 7 minutes to present your case. The more prepared you are with your arguments and anticipate the arguments of the other side, the stronger case that you will have when you get to the debate. Not to mention the fact that it also builds confidence on the part of the speakers, knowing already or anticipating already what will be the defense of the other side prepares you it lessens the fear, it lessens the nervousness because you already know what to expect. So in a matter of speaking, this is also very important for the rebuttal speakers. As we mentioned earlier, no, the rebuttal speakers will have to refute the statements of the opposing team and also summarize their arguments and have a powerful closure. To prepare for that powerful closure, you can't just be surprised or you can't be blindsided on the debate and say, "Na, oh, this argument we did not plan for. The opposition side caught us by surprise." You have to at least be mindful of the weapons or the ammunitions that they can use against your team. And then the third one that I will emphasize on is conducting mock debates as often as possible. Then this will actually lessen your fear of facing the judges, facing your opponents. You don't know who they will be, but because of your team and the constant practice that you have, we would have 2 to 3 hours of rounds debating or arguing both sides. During the mock debates, this is where we find out where are our weaknesses. And this isn't just about the delivery. It's about the argument because when we present it there and then the researchers ask us a question from the opposition research and we will have no answer to that, then we'll say, oh, we have to go back to the drawing board because this one is weak. We have to rectify this. So on that point, your arguments are further refined. They're further strengthened. The weak ones are identified, and it gives you the opportunity to bolster them further. But for the speaker side also, since many of us are not adept at public speaking, very few have the opportunity to do that. The exercise of having mock debates flexes your speaking ability, how fast you can react to questions, how fast you can raise POIs and respond to POIs. And with the mock debates, it will sharpen you as you enter the competition stage, or in your case, the finals of your class. Having practices, having mock debates will really help you a lot. So invest in having mock debates, and then do not feel particularly disheartened when in the mock debates a lot of your arguments are proven to be wrong. This is the opportunity for you to learn. So grab the mock debates as a platform for you to be better and prepare yourself as best as you can for the final stage. The main reason, and I think this is also an apprehension sa mga students na, oh, I don't want to debate because it's going to be embarrassing for me if I forget my speech or if I make a mistake and not able to argue the case or the points correctly. This fear will actually be lessened by preparation. As I kept saying earlier, no, prepare, 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 and it will lessen your fear because when you get to the stage, fear is not something that you should carry with you. You carry with you your arguments, you carry with you your logic, um, you carry with you the cases that you have in mind. But there is no room for fear because when you do that, it just adds burden unnecessarily. You're there not to boost your ego. You're there to prove a point. You're there to analyze or see the pictures or perspectives of a particular issue. So that alone should be driving force while you're debating. It's not particularly, I would say, maybe some would disagree, but it's not particularly winning. It's nice to win. When we won the nationals and when we went to Hong Kong to represent Zerah, it was a very good feeling. But
Yes.
more, di ba? But more than that, it's actually knowing more about international humanitarian law that was enriching. At the end of the experience after nationals in Hong Kong, I felt I know more about IHL, and it helps me understand things better. So prepare, prepare, prepare will help you lessen the fear of stepping up on stage. It means there should be less worry. There shouldn't even be any worry because what you're there for is to present your side. So prepare and have less worries or no worries.
Hakuna Matata, what a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata,
our short intermission number. Let's go
Awesome,
back to you.
Zerah.
Let's go back to you, Kuya Garrett. My next
Yeah,
question is yes, Kuya.
I'd like to share a small detail lang una
Mhm.
para your students get to know you better po. Oh, ba,
All right.
edit out ni Attorney Zera. But during our moot court days, she was also our prayer warrior. She calmed us down every time na we're up against a strong school. And we'd ask her to lead the prayers sa Amua. And then it calmed us down. Pero if we had known that she could sing this well, we would have also asked her to sing the prayers po.
Well, I'm just so happy that God answered my prayer and you did well in the mooting. And yes, congratulations, Kuya.
We all earned it. And thank
Yes.
you everyone sa Team
Thank
Guild.
you, everyone.
Yes.
So going back, Kuya,
Yeah.
what is the next crucial thing that a debater should know?
Clarity. When you present your case, it should be very, very, very clear. Again, as the first speaker, second speaker, or third speaker, you have a limited time, so you can't waste your time going around in circles, citing many different cases, but ultimately the judges are lost, or the audience, even your opposing counsel, might even be lost because your arguments are so circuitous. It doesn't make a dent anymore. So the important thing for each debater is to have this sense of clarity. When you get up on stage, even if it's just one argument that you're going to make, you have to make sure that you present it clearly in such a way that at the end of your presentation, they would have had a picture, a very clear picture of what your argument is. Or in the case, again, like to be consistent, is the general liable for war crimes? And if he is, why? If you're on the opposing side, the general is not liable for war crimes, and the main reason is there's no command responsibility. You have to be able to paint that picture saying there is really no command responsibility in this case. So with the time limit that you have, just present the main statement that you're going to argue on, and then provide the strongest supporting statements that you have, and then close it. As clear as that. Here in the slide, I presented here two pictures of Van Gogh. The other
Mhm.
one is, I think this is his self-portrait, and this is his style where he applies a lot of paint on the brushes, and it looks a little bit distorted, but you can see his face. And then on the other side is a hyper-realistic version of that painting. So my point here is that when you debate, fine, I can understand that the left picture is that of Van Gogh. I sort of get the feeling that I know how he looks like. But the right side of it will make me identify him from the crowd if I see him face to face. So that's the point that you want to come across. When you argue in a debate, you have to make sure that the point is well taken, even if it's just a singular point, but if it's clearly presented from beginning to end. The point here is that when you close your statement, it must be clear. If I were the judge, or if I were the audience, one of the audience, I would be able to get clear understanding of what it is that you're trying to say. It's clear, it's logical. I can follow the sequence of your argument. And then it is supported by evidence. And then lastly, it must be very well argued, and it persuades me to believe that your side is the correct one.
Good point. Okay.
Yes.
Are there other tips, Kuya?
Yeah, this is now. I like to touch on peel. This is basic for organizing arguments, but I'd like to touch on this. Maybe some of you who have already debated in high school or college are familiar with this, but let's emphasize this anyway as you drive at setting your arguments as first speaker, second speaker for the debate that's coming in your finals. The word is peel. The P stands for point. You begin with that. In your opening statement, you say, good morning, judges. May it please the court. We on the affirmative side is arguing that General so and so is not guilty of war crimes because there is no element of command responsibility present. That's your point. And then you now start with you proceed with E, an explanation. You have to bring your audience and the judges to a path, uh, and tell them that this is your point, and the point matters, or the point is true and important because you're going to support it that there is command responsibility because they actually followed his command, and if they didn't follow his command, they would be in danger of losing support or being punished, so on and so forth. So this is your explanation of why the point is correct.
Mhm.
And then here is another heavy part of your presentation, which is evidence or examples. You will now rely on legal provisions, cases, statistics to prove this point. So if we go back again to the example of the general, uh, the point there is he is not liable, no command responsibility. You will
Mhm.
say no command responsibility because he did not exercise effective control
Mhm.
over the rebels. So you have to define what is effective control. And then by evidence, you now have to present individual scenarios. Like, for example, he didn't exercise effective control because they were only cooperating. That's for the opposite side. It's painting a picture of what happened, of a scenario. You're taking them, you're telling a story to them, and making them or persuading them to believe that your case is actually the correct one because you have the law behind you, you have the cases behind you, you have the statistics behind you, and then therefore there should be no reason that they should decide against you. The fourth one, L, is link. This is where you bring home your case. Therefore, if you are able to produce evidence, you're able to argue the law that says he is not responsible for war crimes because there's no command responsibility. The question that you ask is, so what?
Mhm.
That's the purpose of link. What is the impact of your argument? So you can argue now that since the general did not have command responsibility, it would be unjust to convict him of an offense where he cannot be held liable under the law. To do otherwise would be a great injustice to a general who is acting within the legal bounds of his duty. So the point of impact or link is looking at the bigger picture, how your argument ties up. I guess the point here, if I may summarize spiel, is that you have to make sure that you're able to link all your arguments to an impact and then compare it against the opposing counsel's impact and say that ours has more value, ours has more merit, and therefore we should win this debate.